makes me feel a little better if I'm doing this or that wrong and getting heat is I just go back to the basics. I go back to, giving everything you got, working really hard, doing the right things, making sure you're the first one in, last one out, just doing everything that puts me in a good headspace to be like, okay, good job, Nick. Like, you did this and that.
Yeah.
It's been a bad week, but like, you're working your ass off. You're showing up first. You're doing the right things. Like, just give it some time. Things will turn around.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. Each week with our guest episodes, I try to put the spotlight on someone who in my eyes has given themselves permission to live a life authentic to them. Our guest today is from Irvine, California. He played 4 years of college of soccer at UC Santa Barbara. In his senior year, he was named Big West Conference Offensive Player of the Year. In 2017, he entered the MLS Super Draft and was selected first round 19th overall by the Montreal Impact. As of February 2020, he is now on the LA Galaxy senior team roster as a defender, rocking number 20, today on the podcast. Nick DePuy, baby. He's here. How we doing?
Thanks, Bobby.
Dude.
I'm doing good, man. Fired up to be here. Thanks for having me, dude.
Fired up to have you here, bro. We don't get enough athletes on this podcast. And very quickly after meeting you, see, because I've been doing this for a long time, I'm constantly just taking note of like people that I meet, and I'm like, they'd be a good podcast guest. And I remember after like meeting you and hearing you played for the Galaxy, I was like, little does he know I'm going to be sliding through that DM in like the next 2 weeks, like going to get him to get on the podcast. So it's I'm honored to have you here today, man. It's gonna be a fantastic conversation.
Nah, man, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
First podcast too, right? Like first official podcast.
First podcast. I've done interviews and telephone interviews and stuff like that, but this is the first podcast for me. Yeah.
I hope I can set the bar high today. I hope that you'll go on to do hundreds of podcasts throughout your career, and I hope no matter what, you always look back, you're like, that first one I did, man, I don't know if anybody was ever to top the Bearded Man's podcast. So I hope that's the intention going into today's episode, man.
Hey, starting off strong. Starting off very strong.
That's it, baby. So to be a professional athlete in any sport, right? It takes a certain level of commitment to make it to the highest level. How have you held yourself accountable to show up consistently, to put in the work, even on days that you've probably felt burnt out and not wanting to actually show up and actually practice?
For me, it goes back to when I all started this. This is being a professional soccer player was a dream that I had when I was a young kid, and growing up playing soccer my whole life, I knew that this was something that I really wanted to do. And like you said, there's days. I mean, there's days where I'm just like, oh, fuck, I'm over this, or something like, it's just a grind. But I kind of look back to where I am, to kind of take a step back and realize that, I'm living my dream and I'm doing what I wanted to do since I was a little kid.
Dude, that's crazy. Do you remember the moment, like when you had that light bulb of like, this is what I want to do with my life? Because even then, even as I'm sure you might've told parents, friends, coaches, like, I want to be a professional athlete. So many of us as we're growing up say that, but there's a very, very, very small percentage that actually execute and are able to deliver on that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I didn't really think being a pro was really like, once I was probably a junior in college, sophomore in college, it was like, okay, shit, like, yeah, like I can make it. Like I have a chance, I'm playing really well, and like there's opportunities that are coming forward. So like, it was always kind of just like soccer's always been my life, and like I've always been pretty good at it. But it wasn't until I was like a sophomore, junior in college where I'm like, okay, like you got to keep working, you got to stay healthy, you got to stay disciplined, and you can get to where you want to be.
Yeah. Are your coaches at that point in time like telling you like, Nick, if you keep playing at this level, like you're probably have a good chance of making it pros? Or are you starting to get like coaches and staff of major league teams like reaching out, showing somewhat of an interest? Like, even at that point in time, are major league teams able to start reaching out to you?
Yeah, it's not primarily like the teams that are reaching out to you, but like I'd get messages and calls from like agents, and that's how it all starts. You get drafted, unless you're with a MLS academy that they can just sign you whenever. I was not on an MLS academy. I was just on a club team, on a local club team. But once you're in college, agents can start reaching out to you and being like, look, you have a future in soccer. Like, would love to represent you, and then things can move forward.
Was that nerve-wracking trying to navigate that when you start getting people hitting you up? Because I'm sure at that point you probably did some research, like who is this guy or girl, and like who have they worked with? But that's got to be a little bit. It's got to be interesting trying to navigate those conversations, because you're essentially signing your name to this person and putting your entire future in trust that they're going to deliver on, what they say they're going to do for you.
Exactly. It was hard for me because I had no idea what I was doing. Like I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't know like what I should be looking for and what I should be kind of avoiding. But there would be agents that would, come visit me at UCSB and watch me play, and like, take me out to lunch and have conversations, and I would kind of have to, pick and choose from who I think would best represent me.
Wow.
In the end, it was someone that, I felt very close to personally. And I feel like, this was someone that believed in me no matter what, even if I, had a bad game or a bad week or a bad month, this was someone that I knew would always believe in me and lead me into the right direction.
Wow. Are you still with that agent today?
I'm still at 5 years.
Oh,
5 years, 6 years.
Let's go. That's amazing. That is really cool to see. Especially we'll get into in a little bit about some of that journey, even post college. But that's what you want. You want to build up with people from the ground up and be with them for the longevity of it. At least that's what I see. Like when I think of LeBron James, he's had his team around him since the jump, and then you go on to see all of these different people around his life, like, succeed and do a magnitude different things. But I think at the end of the day, if 5 years in, you're still with that agent, something's working. You got some relationship going on there that definitely is working together.
Nah, it's great. It's like a friendship. You check how's the fam, happy holidays, this and that. It's a lot of agents these days. I feel like, they don't really have a very close relationship with their player. Yeah. So I think I'm happy with my agent.
I love that. What are 2 or 3 skills that you've had to develop off the field that have allowed you to get to where you are today, do you think?
Off the field, I would say sacrifice. You gotta be able to sacrifice a lot of things, and also discipline. I think those kind of go 2 and 2 together. I'm in my 20s. I live in Southern California. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on, especially during the season, and I've kind of learned to, when the time is to, go out and have fun, then have fun. But, for the most part, you gotta take care of your body.
Yeah.
You have to get a lot of sleep. You got to eat the right things. You got to hydrate. You got to make sure you're healthy and you're stretching. You're not really, doing anything that could injure you on the field or harm you playing. So, I think I've had to sacrifice a lot of things. I've missed a lot of fun events and family gatherings, this and that I would love to have gone to, but it's something that you just have to deal with. And again, to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, this is my job, this is my career, this is what I want to do, and push through that.
Yeah. I got to say, I respected you a lot. A couple weekends ago, we all went out and you were with us, and all of a sudden you were gone. And I was like, where did he go? And then somebody was like, hey, his practice at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I was like, this man is committed. He clearly is committed if he's playing at the highest level, but he knows where to pick his pockets. And he knows, I call it the Irish goodbye, or the pick and roll, where it's like, you see me and then I'm gone. Like, I don't tell people I'm gone, I'm leaving, because then they're like, why are you leaving? Like, stick around. They play that whole game, but I respected it. And that was definitely something I wanted to hit on today, and what you elaborated on is just like the amount of sacrifices that you have had to make to get to this level is, I can't even imagine, because there's just so many things that, like, especially when you're in season, you can't be like, hey guys, I'm flying out to my buddy's birthday party in Vegas. It's like, we have games, we have practice. Like, And the season itself is what, 10 month commitment for the most part?
Yeah, it's this last season we were February until November, so it's about 10 months, and it's you're training every day, and you have an off day here and there, which it's nice. And like personally for me, you have to have a little bit of an escape, or like you got to take a step back, so you're not just like always in soccer and thinking soccer and like worrying soccer. But it's nice to have a day off here and there. But for the most part, we're every day
firing off.
Yeah,
guys are cooking, dude.
Firing off. Yeah.
Talk to me about though getting when you're getting drafted, right? You get picked first round, 19th overall in 2017 during the Super Draft. That is an incredible number. First round, 19th pick overall. It's phenomenal. And at this moment in time, like this is like you said before, like this is the moment you've been working for your entire life. What does it feel like to at that moment in time grasp the goal that you've been reaching for? But then also, what's it feel like the next couple weeks later where you've reached the highest goal you've ever won? Now it's like you have to reset the bar, right? Like whether it's all right, we made it to the majors. Now we got to win a championship. But like, what's your thought process on just like goal setting at that point? Because this is arguably the biggest thing you've probably ever accomplished at that moment in time, and now it's right before your eyes.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, when I got drafted, it took me a few days to kind of realize like, wow, like I made it. Like this is it. Like I've accomplished my dream. Like I'm a professional soccer player. But it was only after I got drafted, I probably had a week or two to kind of get my stuff ready and then head out to Montreal. When I got to Montreal, it's like at least the first couple of months I was there, it was pretty difficult for me because for me, I go from like college and high school and club where I'm like, okay, I'm like the guy, I'm playing every game, every second, like I'm scoring a lot. I'm one of the best guys on the team. And then you go to professional team and you're close to the bottom of the roster. So it's kind of like a wake up call. You gotta, it humbles you for sure, which is good. You need that.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot my first year. I think that was the one year I learned the most. Not so much like physically and like where to be on the field, this and that, but mostly like mentally. And like, you have to be mentally strong. You have to take, like I said, take care of your body. You have to take care of yourself, and you got to do the right things to get the most out of yourself on the field.
Yeah. How big of a shift is it for you too, where you're growing up in Southern California, you're going to college in Southern California, and now you are in not warm weather? Like that also is a complete shift on your body and your mindset. And like waking up in December, this time of year, it's going to be gray outside. It's going to be cold. You're going to be wearing 15 layers of clothes. Like, was that like a reality kick for you too?
For sure. Yeah. It was freezing. You like from the months, I wouldn't see the sun for a while. There'd be snow on the ground for, I bought one like huge like ski parka, and I'm wearing that like every day for like 3 months. It's just like, it's definitely a wake up call for sure. Thank God we had indoor facilities, which is nice. So
Nick's like,
you don't have to train.
Nick's like, yeah. Can you guys crank it up to like 80 degrees? I want to feel like I'm in Southern California still.
No, it was a great experience to live over there. I'm glad I kind of got to live somewhere else for a few years, just to get out of California for a little bit and experience something new.
Yeah, and you had said one of the biggest things going there was mindset. Going off of that, what mindset, or like what are you having to like teach yourself or learn while you're there? Is it just like the adaptability of being somewhere you're not used to? Is it the mindset of like humbling yourself and going, now I'm at the bottom of the pole of the team where the last 10 years of my life I was like the guy?
Yeah, I think most of that goes with dealing with adversity. You're not playing games, you get injured, you have a bad training session, you have a bad touch or a bad shot, instead of like, getting down on yourself super quick and like, that's kind of just like gonna, it's an effect that's just going to keep going and going. It's going to cause you to play worse and worse. You got to kind of forget about it, move on, on to the next one, on to the next day. You have a shitty day of training, do what you can to get prepared for the next day and come out the next day, playing better, mentally working harder, doing the little things before the training, after the training to make your body feel better during the training. You know what I'm saying?
And those little things are on you to do. It's not like
exactly. No one's gonna hold your hand through that. That's there's a couple of veterans on the team that would be like, yo, you should do this, and I would be like, what the fuck, like how do I do it? How can I get better at this? And they would kind of help me, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. You have to really do it and take the time to do it.
Yeah. I had seen when I was doing a lot of the research for this, most of your career, you were an offensive player. You were putting in headers. And I mean, some of the goals that I've seen in your career, I'm just like, this guy was a beast, like 25, 30 yards out, putting it top right. I'm like, how the fuck is this guy doing this? When did you go to defender? Was it when you got to the Galaxy, or was it once you got into the pros, you had to accept, like, you went from the front running guy of the team, putting in the net, to now you're defending, which to me is obviously two completely different positions and roles.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in club, and I played my freshman year of college as a defender, as a center back.
Oh, okay.
Then my coach in college, when I was a sophomore, decided to throw me up top, and I started scoring goals. I did really well. That's when all the agents were reaching out to me, and I realized, okay, I can make it. This is a reality. Got drafted as a forward, and I never really, honestly, I wasn't really good enough to make it and last in the MLS as a forward. And that's something I kind of had to take a step back and like realize, like, okay, like I got to think about what I really want to do now. Wow. Because obviously I believe in myself. You have to be confident. You have to believe that, yeah, you're out there, you belong out there, you're a hell of a player, like you can do this. But it was until I was in Montreal for 2 years, and after my second year I got released, so they didn't pick up my option. So at that point I was a free agent, and I started talking to my agent in the offseason, like fuck, like I don't know what to do. Like there wasn't really any offers or this and that coming towards me, especially since that whole last year I was pretty injured. And my agent called me. He's like, hey, like the Galaxy, their second team, they want you to come out to preseason. So I didn't even have an offer. I had to like go out. It's pretty much like open trial, and I'm like, okay, let's give it a go. I got nothing else to, at least I'll be in LA. And I get injured out there. I start playing forward in preseason, and I get injured out there, like my second practice. So I'm like, oh my God, like, is this it? Is this it for me? And I talked to the GM a few weeks later, and I was like, look, I know, the center back position is, you have some spots open for that. I can play center back. I played center back growing up. I got the physique for it. I got the mentality for it. Like, let's give that a go. And ever since then, it's been really good. I played well for that first year on the second team, and then after that year, I signed with the first team for the past 2 years, and that's where I'm at now.
Wow. See, this is the shit these are the little nuggets of the story that make it all the difference, right? Because I meet you, I see you're on the senior roster, like this guy is clearly dialed in. But even when I was researching and getting ready for the podcast, I was like, he didn't just like join at the MLS league and then now he was like on the senior team. It's like these little setbacks. But what is to me, that's unbelievable. You get the injury, and now you're having to be self-aware enough to go, put me in this position. Let me prove to you guys that I'm worth being on the team. Like that's a lot of pressure, right? Because you're at the highest level. This is like the once in a lifetime opportunity, and it's like, if I don't succeed at this, it's not gonna happen.
Like you said, that is a lot of pressure, but at the same time, there was no pressure at all because I had nothing to lose. I had that was my only option. It was either that or I probably wasn't going to make the team as a forward, which means now what? Do I have to think about a new career or go somewhere else or this and that? So I was it was a decision that I look back now and I'm like, thank God.
Wow.
Damn.
But even then, so you get signed on the reserve team, right? So now you have a spot.
Yeah.
But your mind, I'm sure at the time is like, okay, I have something to work towards, but I want to be on the senior team. What are you doing to give yourself the ability to then step up to the occasion and make the senior team roster?
For me, when I got back to being a center back, that means I wasn't playing defender for like 4 years because I was a defender sophomore or freshman year of college.
So sophomore, junior,
hadn't
senior year, and first 2 years of being in the league. 5 years you were not playing that position.
Exactly. So honestly, for me, once I made the team as a center back, I was like, this year is a scratch. Like, okay, first team deal, not going to happen. Money, probably not the best. Like, whatever. I'm in LA. I need to learn as much as I can. I need to get on the field as much as I can, and get as many games as possible, just to kind of like get used to the positioning. Get used to where I'm supposed to be in different situations, different circumstances, and just like get back to being in a rhythm of a center back. And so, what I would do is, obviously during the trainings, I had a pretty good assistant coach that would really help me and kind of put me under his arm and show me the way that of what I'm supposed to do in certain situations. But also the thing that was very important, I think, was like video sessions. We'd have video sessions probably 2 or 3 times a week, and those are the times that you can just kind of like sit back. Like obviously you're sitting back, but you're like looking from a different view, and you're seeing the whole field. And okay, you're over here, Nick. Like you need to be over here. You need to step to this guy. You can't be stepping. This and that. So the video sessions, I felt like, gave me a huge increase of awareness and improved the way I play. In the following games, in the following week. And so throughout the year, I was actually, I was doing really well. I was playing really good, and the first team coaches were pretty happy with the way I was playing. So about halfway through that year, I was on the reserve team. I started training with the first team. Wow. And I actually played in like a few of the friendly games and ended up doing really well. And then after that season is when they signed me to the first team.
When you say friendly, what does that mean? Because as a reserve, tell me if I'm wrong, but as a reserve team, you're essentially the practice team against the main team. Do you guys practice together, or is that completely separate?
It's separate. Wow. It's actually, so it is technically the reserve team, but nowadays it's the second team has its own league. They play in the USL now, which is like the G League in NBA.
Got you. That makes sense.
So they have a separate league. It is like a feeder team, but now it's primarily like a lot of young players that are kind of like going through the academy that are like kind of iffy if they can be pro or not. But they have their own league. So a friendly game for the first team it's not like a MLS league game. It doesn't really count, but there's a few games every season where you'll play teams that are from Mexico or some European teams come over here just to get some games in before their season. Wow. So when I was playing, I played against Cruz Azul, which is a team from Mexico, and then I played against a team from Tijuana as well. Wow. So I played in 2 games with the first team, but it was just kind of like they just, fan base was big over there here, and just like some friendly games. I don't know. Wow. And it was pretty good. It played pretty well, and that was good to show the coaches what I was capable of.
So you sign with the senior team. How does that feel, as this is technically the soccer team that's in your backyard of you growing up? Like, this is like, that's me growing up in Massachusetts. I get signed to the Red Sox and my life is like bliss. Like, my family is going to be electric. They're going to be rolling in with champagne. Like, that, it just would be so legendary to like the games that I'm going to as a kid. I'm now on the field. Like, that must have been an incredible moment for you, your family, and for friends that, have been watching you along this journey.
Yeah. It's a moment I won't I won't forget. Being my hometown team, I used to go to the Galaxy games growing up and watching Kobe Jones, and this was somewhere I always wanted to be. And being in LA, where I have, like you said, my family and my friends that are here, I couldn't be in a better situation.
Kid's crushing it. And he just turned 27. Oh my God. You're coming out,
27.
dude.
What is happening?
Oh, I'll tell you what, when you guys get back in season, I'm going to be front row at that first game back going absolute bananas, dude.
Dude, I got you.
I might be a season ticket holder come next season, dude. I might be at every game.
You have to sit in the rowdy fan section though.
Throw me in the middle of that, dude. I will get that crowd even rowdier. I'm gonna help them crank up a couple degrees, so I will for sure be in the middle of that.
Yes, sir. You got one.
I had come across this. I think it was like an interview. No, it wasn't an interview. It was an article. I think from the past. I don't know when it was, but this writer had said, and he was speaking on. You said. He's got the size, he has solid instincts, but he needs more reps and more coaching to really blossom. Maybe this was like when you were on the reserve team. I don't remember the context of when, but I'm curious, how have you tuned out these external opinions of others along the way? Because that's definitely something that you're getting even probably in high school or no, even in college when you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to the pros, and people are like, yeah, all right, Nick, like heard that before. But how have you learned to just tune out these people's opinions when it's just not benefiting you?
Dude, I just do, honestly. And it starts with social media. I mean, there's going to be people that, like, if I have a bad game, my DMs, like, they're
firing off in your DMs.
Yeah, I get some, but it's the LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
It's a huge club, and I realize, not only are the players, coaches, staff for the Galaxy super passionate about this team, but there's a hell of a lot of fans out there that love this club, that would do anything to play for this club. So getting messages like that, and seeing stuff on internet and stuff like that, I honestly don't really pay attention to a lot of that.
It's great.
I don't think it does. Yeah, it's good to hear other people's views and opinions, but I just don't think it's worth making a big deal out of stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, if my play is poor, that's up to me to play better and do the right thing and react in the next training and the next game. But with fans and with other people saying this and that, it's something I expect, and every professional athlete, I think, gets some sort of heat.
Such a good mindset to have, even if you're not somebody that plays at a professional level. It's to hear that, I love it, because that's exactly the way I live my life. Like, you could sit in the nosebleeds and tell me how I'm doing my job wrong, or your 2 cents opinion about what you think of this podcast, and honestly, it's not going to derail me from doing the thing that I want to do. So it's like, please just keep talking about me, because that means you're paying attention to me, which is ultimately I'm winning. So keep going. But there's a lot of people in this world that realistically get caught up in that, like, what their family's opinion, their friend's opinion, what their girlfriend, their boyfriend thinks. Like, it's really not a place you want to live from. You're literally allowing people's opinions to almost guide the direction of the way you live your life, right? And so it's great when I meet people like you that you've had to find that way to just not care and to just let it, like, brush off your shoulder, because you're going to get that for the rest of your career, for the rest of your life. And the moment you start to let it eat at you, it's then, it's like they're all going to come after you because they can see it, kind of getting to you. But it's a really good mindset and perspective to have, where it's just like, I don't need to see it, hear it, and it really doesn't bother me.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing I makes me feel a little better if I'm doing this or that wrong and getting heat is I just go back to the basics. I go back to, giving everything you got, working really hard, doing the right things, making sure you're the first one in, last one out, just doing everything that puts me in a good headspace to be like, okay, good job, Nick. Like, you did this and that. It's been a bad week, but, like, you're working your ass off, you're showing up first, you're doing the right things. Like, just give it some time, things will turn around.
Yeah. You're counting up those small little wins, and like, not every day is going to be great. Not every day is going to be this perfect practice, perfect workout, perfect lift, perfect, I mean, literally anything. So it's having that mindset of like, I did my best today. I put my best foot forward. We're going to try again tomorrow, and we'll see how we play then. How do you show up
Exactly.
as, like, as a teammate, right? Like, you can obviously show up the best version of yourself, which is most important, right? Like, I really believe, like, no matter who you are in this world, no matter what your goals are, you have to show up the greatest version of yourself to then be able to help your team, help whatever it is that you do. Then it
Yeah.
allows you to operate at the highest level. So you showing up to the world as your best, in your best sense of practicing and taking care of your dieting and all that is very important. But how do you try to make sure that you're available for teammates, or are there certain things that you do to make sure that you're kind of making sure that other people on the team as well are feeling good about themselves?
Yeah, I think the first thing is a positive mindset. I think creating a negative mindset and a negative energy in every workspace, not only sports, but every workspace, it does no good for anyone. I think being positive, encouraging, all right, man, next one, like, you got, like, come on, like, you're good, no worries, like, we got
Yeah.
you, no problem, like, positive environment. As a center back, especially this last year, I've learned that a lot of the communication is going to come from me. I'm seeing the whole field. I see all my teammates in front of me, and if someone makes a mistake, everyone's going to make a mistake, but it's all good, dude. Next one, you
Mm,
got it. Come on now.
mm,
It's being positive, it's being encouraging, but it's also pushing your teammates. If people are half-assing it or slacking off, there's nothing wrong with pushing the guys, like, come on now, let's go, pick it up. That's totally fine. It's treating that in a good way, in a good manner, that it's going to create an environment where everybody's trying to work for each other and not against each other.
yeah. I never thought about that, but yeah, the position that you're in, you're one of the very few players that's actually going to be able to essentially watch and see the whole game play out in front of them, because you're able to see where every player is, where they are, how they're
Mm-hmm.
moving, the like. It's a really
Yeah,
interesting position to be in, where you kind of have to rise to the occasion to be able to step up and, like, encourage others that, it's fine, or great job, or, watch your back on this.
yeah,
That becomes leadership for you.
yeah. Exactly. I think that's a role that my coaches want me to carry more. In the next couple of seasons.
Big,
So I gotta work on
gotta
that.
deliver, gotta deliver, baby.
You're not.
Ladies and gentlemen, quick break from today's episode, and then we'll get right back to it. Today's episode is brought to you by Liquid IV, none other than the greatest hydration brand in the world. I use this product daily. There is no question about it. This product has changed my life for the better, okay? Whether it is hangovers, whether it is post and pre-workout, whether it is working from home, podcasting, talking for long hours of the day, or during these recordings, this product has changed my life. I use it daily. Some of my favorite flavors include tangerine, lemon lime, watermelon is Fuego. The energy product is Heat. I also am a big fan of strawberry. There are so many great flavors that you guys and gals will love. If you head over to liquidiv.com, use my promo code TheBeardedMan, all one word. It'll get you 25% off every order. It is so worth it. With cooler weather here during the winter months, especially heading into New Year's, there's going to be some New Year's resolutions. You guys and gals are going to want this product to help you feel your best self. Making hydration a priority helps us feel healthier on a day-to-day basis and fuels us to be our highest potential. Now, one of these sticks in 16 ounces of water, you shake it up, shake, will hydrate you faster and more efficiently than water alone. So like I said, literally, it doesn't matter if it's for working out, hangovers, you're just running about your day. You can use this product so much in your day-to-day. Liquid IV contains 5 essential vitamins, more vitamin C than an orange, and as much potassium as a banana. It's healthier than sugary sports drinks. Gatorade, get out of here. Has no artificial flavors or preservatives. It's made with clean ingredients, non-GMO, vegan, and free of gluten, dairy, and soy for anyone out there with food allergies or that has dietary restrictions. And what really makes this product so great is our CTT. That's our cellular transport technology. So essentially, it's the optimal ratio of glucose, sodium, potassium that delivers water and nutrients into the bloodstream faster and more efficiently than water alone. It is the perfect balance to help you hydrate more quickly and effectively than water alone. And what I love about Liquid IV so much is that the company is on a mission to change the world. That is right. Not only are they helping you change your day-to-day lives, but they're also changing the world. At this moment in time, the company has donated over 16 million of these sticks around the globe. 16 million. It's unbelievable. So if you're interested and you want to try some Liquid IV out, you need to do so today. Head over to liquidiv.com today. Once again, use my promo code TheBeardedMan, all one word. It's going to get you 25% off every single order. I would recommend tangerine, lemon lime, watermelon, and if you're really feeling it, get some strawberry in the mix. You're going to enjoy it. Thank you. Back to today's episode. Dignity, I think it's Dignity Health Sports Park is technically the home of the LA Galaxy. Seats 27,000 people, which is a massive amount. Obviously, I'm sure there's probably been some hiccups with COVID and all the restrictions of seating capacity and whatnot. Are there any like pregame or routines before stepping onto the field before a game?
I eat the same thing.
Same thing. See, I love the little things like this because I think it makes all the difference. But like, so you eat what? So, how far in advance will you get to the stadium before a game?
I'll get there probably 2.5 hours, 2 hours before the game.
Okay, and
usually we have to be an hour and a half, but like 2 hours, 2.5. Yeah.
And that 2.5 hours before the game, is it tend to be the same? Like what, you don't have to go minute by minute, but what is that? Yeah. What does that process look like for you?
So I'll get there. I'll eat my peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Let's go. Bring it back to the basics, baby.
So killer. Good. So good. So good. So good. And then I will change into my gear, and then I'll get some treatment. I usually work on my hips because I have pretty tight hips, so I'll get those loosened up, and then I'll go to the gym. I'll do some activation stuff. I'll roll out, and then at that point, it's we have our team meeting, and then after the team meeting, we go out for warm up, and then after that, we come back in, put our jerseys on, and it's game time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you got it step by step. You know exactly what you're doing. It's so I love things like that. Even like the fact that you're eating the same meal, because to me, it's about comfortability of knowing where you're supposed to be and when. And it's like, you know how that peanut butter and jelly sandwich is going to make you feel. You're not going to feel too heavy. You're going to feel like you have a little bit of energy. You know, you're supposed to go, work on the hips because that's going to get you loose. You know, you're supposed to go activate, your lower legs with the foam rolling. Like, it's all those little micro steps that I think high level executors, not even just athletes, like people just figure out what works for them and they just do it repetitively, which then allows them, such as yourself, when come game time, you're in your best physique. You feel good enough because you found the pre-session warm up that allows you to step on the field and feel like, all right, I'm ready to rock right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's feeling comfortable in uncomfortable situations. I think games are tense. They're stressful. Like it's important. It's it's the end of the week. It's what you worked for. So just feeling comfortable in the sense of, okay, I've been here before. Like, this is what I need to do now. This is what I've done. This is what I've always done. This is what I've done before. It puts you, at least me, in a good mindset, and a sense that, okay, you're fucking ready. Let's go.
Yeah, I'd seen on your LinkedIn you had, I think, talking about this where it said, I appreciate the need in maintaining a professional posture while being extremely sensitive and aware of the public interaction and courtesy. So how, especially, it's probably, obviously it is much different when you're at a home game. Majority of the crowd around you is there to support you and they're there for you. But how are you making sure that you're holding composure when you're traveling and people, I don't know what they're saying, but still they're not there to support you. So I know, like you're saying, like you've been there before. Like that's even just that self-talk is probably all you need. But is there anything else that you're doing that allows you to make sure that you're keeping composure and you're not? You always see those moments where like somebody finally, an athlete just lets it trigger, and then ESPN covers it. How are you making sure that you're just keeping it like super calm and cool?
I think that kind of goes back to the social media and the article aspect. Is I just kind of mute it out. I just kind of ignore it. Like you're gonna get shit on the road. It's just part of the game. It's part of every game in professional sports. The opposing team is gonna boo you, say this and that, and it's just getting caught into those interactions with fans are probably not the best and smartest things to do. But for me, just ignoring it, I know, especially during the games, there's tense times. People get heated. There's disappointing results that happen, disappointing plays, and guys will get fired up on it. But you just kind of have to keep your cool and mute it out, especially when the interactions come from opposing fans. It's something that you just have to learn to do, and you have to do it because otherwise it'd probably not be the best thing to do.
Yeah, you do not.
Won't be a good thing to do
Yeah,
at all.
that is gonna hurt you big time if you cave into some of the shit that probably happens out there when you're on the field.
Yeah. It would hurt you more than benefit you for sure.
Yeah, not ideal. What's a lesson that you've learned from playing that you've incorporated into your personal life?
I think this last year I really learned a lot about meditation and yoga. Changer. And I think that is huge. Like it's crazy. This last year we had a new coaching staff come on board for our team. And one of the positions that's new on our team is a cognitive coach. So he focuses on, mentality and, being the best you can in a mental state on the field. Not really physically. Like physically, he's not like showing you how to do workouts, this and that. It's mentally being prepared to go on the field, whether that's vision or at ease in the head and this and that. And he was the one that kind of got me started on meditation. And I started this probably in May or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that is huge. It's a game changer. You not only feel, for me, I felt, just scrambled in my head, especially on the pitch. On the field, you have to have, like, there's things going on. Yeah, you have to look around. You have to be aware. And I felt that my mind was scrambled. And then I kind of got into meditation and would do that every day and would kind of practice it in certain situations during training and before games and stuff like that. And I felt so much more clear and so much more at ease in my mind that I thought it made the world of difference for me.
Wow.
And I know meditation is huge, not only, for physical performance, but just like in terms of mentality. I think being happy and, having a good mindset is huge, not only in soccer, but in life.
Wow, that's amazing. I got introduced to meditation probably about 5 years ago, and I've done my best. I'd say it's 95% a daily 10-minute practice. Some weekends here and there I miss out, but I'd say weekday it's like clockwork. It's like I need to do it because it stills my mind for the day ahead. But what a game changer it is! Like
it's unreal.
Yeah, and it allows you to it allows you to keep that composure in those, not even just composure in like those in high moments, but like anytime I think I can only speak from experience. Anytime there's been like anxiety or like pressure that has built up in my mind, I recognize it. It's almost like I detach myself from the thought and I see it as like, why am I getting anxious? Or like trying to almost like find the root of the problem, where before it's like an emotion would hit, whether it's happy or even like those high highs, right? Where like life is fucking great. And you're just like, I can't, the day of the marathon, I complete the LA marathon. I'm like feeling good, but I'm also in my mind, I'm like, you could enjoy this, but like, don't wake up tomorrow and then just feel like that immediate, like down back in the trench, got to get back to work. Like, try to just flow with the emotions as they come through, and don't let the highs get too high and don't let the lows get too low, and somehow try to find a way to stay evenly balanced. But meditation is that's gotta be a lifelong hack. And I'm sure you're probably seeing it now off the field, even out of the season, how it could probably just calm your mind and whatever you might have going on.
Definitely. And I honestly, for me, it contributes to sleeping. And I've always been a pretty bad sleeper. Like it was pretty hard for me to fall asleep and stay asleep. So for me, meditation really helped that for me, just kind of relax, especially before I would go to sleep. And it benefited me in that situation.
Yeah. Anytime that happens time to time when you can't fall asleep because your mind is running a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
And when you learn the power of just focusing on the breath and like compartmentalizing all those thoughts, and like, yo, I'm gonna check in with these thoughts tomorrow when after I'm rested. But I think recovery wise, it definitely plays a role in like allowing you to get better sleep, which then allows you to feel better, more energized for the next day, which then carries into training and probably playing. And it really has a full 360 impact on your life when you start to find ways to control your thoughts a little bit, and also just like be aware of what's causing these thoughts. And that's awesome. I love that they actually brought somebody on the team to just focus on that, because to get to the highest level of soccer or play any major sport, we all know you're going to have to be physically, you got to be there, whether it's yoga, whether it's Pilates, whether it's obviously maybe weightlift training or running, like you have to be there. But there's also these next layer things like the mental health, where it's like, I think that's what's even allows you to then, get that 1% better than other people out there, which is at that point, the highest level, that 1% can make all the difference in these high situational moments where it's like the game's on the line. And if you can keep yourself in check, it's going to make all the difference.
Definitely. 100%.
It's great. It's great. Game changer,
100%.
man.
It is.
We're going to get into the final 5. So these are the last 5 questions. 1 sentence answer. So it's a little tricky. You got to think about it for a second before you answer, but 1 sentence answer. Okay. Max, okay. First question. How can people learn to give themselves permission to follow their interests or their ideas?
I think that starts with passion and beliefs. And I think if you're really passionate about what interests you, then you just have to put your mind to it and work at it and continue to improve a little bit every day.
That's great. Love that. Love that. Second question. If you could go back and tell yourself one piece of advice at any point in your life, what would it be and when?
I would say
it's tough.
This might be weird, but I would say honestly, don't take it so seriously. And I would say that after my first year of playing in Montreal, because that was a time for me that I was just not in a good space and not in a good mindset, and was really struggling, not only on the field but off it. So I would say just relax.
I like that. I definitely can feel you on that. And in my own life, like it's all worked out. But at those moments in times when I was stressed, like, is this going to work out? And even to this day, I have to remind myself, like, chill, enjoy the ride, trust that like you've seen everything that you've wanted to happen come to fruition. Like it's going to keep happening. So just keep that in mind. So I hear you loud and clear on that. Third question for you. What's an area of your life you need to put more effort into?
Seeing my family more. A lot of my family lives in Denver, and it's pretty hard to see them. I saw them over Thanksgiving, but
not enough time.
I miss them at times.
You grew up in Irvine, though, right? Or am I wrong?
I grew up in Irvine. Okay, I moved to Denver when I was in high school.
Gotcha. But so a lot of your family is still in Denver.
Yeah, exactly. Especially my parents, but
it's a great city.
My family more.
Was there about a month ago and lit that city on fire. So I'll let you know next time I go out there.
It's cool. It's
electric.
Cool. It's still going.
It's a great, yeah, it's still going full speed ahead. It's a great city. Fourth question. Fourth question for you. Sorry. What's the first step anyone can take to reaching their inner potential?
Setting goals on what you want from it. I think if you can kind of map it out how you want to get there to where you want to be in your next step, I think for me it's important to kind of map it out, and not only like big huge goals and accomplishments, but like smaller little goals, just to kind of like, okay, I accomplished that one, I can get to that. I accomplished that one, I can get to that. I think that's huge, and not only you can see what you need to do and what you need to continue to do, but it also it gives you a sense of, okay, I accomplished that, like let's go again.
Yeah, I have a poster on my laptop that says giant leaps begin with small steps, and it's exactly that.
Oh,
like
really?
you have to focus on those small steps, which then with time add up to the giant leaps. But even also to go off of that, like the visualization of like, you kind of have to understand where you're trying to go, otherwise you're kind of just flying to wherever the wind takes you. And so at least having some sense of direction of where you want to be, it allows you to then reverse engineer and in real time make those decisions of like, does this align of where that goal is, what that goal looks like? Like nobody's gonna have the perfect blueprint of how, like you didn't know you were gonna make it to the senior team of the Galaxy, but you knew I want to be at the highest level playing. And so then you've just navigated it. But I completely agree. I think that's a really good point. Fifth and final question. If somebody's listened to the last 48 minutes of this podcast, what is one challenge you have for the listeners today? After they finish listening to this podcast, what is one challenge you have for the listeners today?
I would say if you're doing something you love and you're struggling at it, keep going, keep working, keep doing what you got to do. I know times are rough and things are difficult, but if you really want to do what you're doing, you'll get there as long as you put your mind to it and you put the work in.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. The ability, I have literally tattooed on my hand right here. I don't know if you can really see it. It says keep going. It was the first tattoo I ever got. And it's the font is literally beyond infinity. So it's like keep going beyond infinity. And the common theme that I see and what I've loved about podcasting, and not putting myself in a box of like the entrepreneur podcast or the creative podcast, but kind of keeping it open so I can interview anybody, yourself as a professional athlete. I last week was a founder of a company. This week is another podcaster. The common theme that I see in these people that are operating at the highest level is they have just kept going, right? Like there have been hurdles, there have been struggles, there have been great wins, there have been losses, but their ability to just continue to show up is what's got them to that highest level. And so I think that's great. Yeah. I mean, as long as you can find a way to internalize and build that fuel in you to like, might not have the greatest day yesterday, but we're going to keep going. Inevitably, things fall into place. And at that point, it's just a matter of time before you get to these goals and you get to where you've always wanted to be.
100%. Nothing's gonna be given to you.
Yeah,
you got to work for it.
You got to work.
There's going to be obstacles for sure.
Yeah, and that's what makes it. That's what makes it enjoyable when you have to put in 100%. The work, put the blinders on. The longer it takes you to get there, it ends up being even greater successes. Nick, this has been a great conversation, man. Honored to get you on the show today, man. Just from afar and like kind of like before even getting to this podcast today, knowing that you were operating at the highest level as an athlete, I was like, it takes so much. You made a comment earlier that I forgot to kind of go off of, but like, discipline, right? Like, you have to not only be somewhere to show up and play, but you also have to take care of your body, right? Like I could essentially go send it on a Friday night, have a podcast the next morning at 10 a.m. Not going to feel so hot, but I could probably deliver it. The discipline it takes to be a professional athlete is not only being in the right place at the right time, but it's also what you're consuming, liquids and foods. And so it takes another layer of discipline for an athlete to stay at that level. So not only that, but just hearing like your mentality, your approach, your mindset, it's very clear to me that you damn well deserve to be where you're at today. And it's also great because this is still very early in your career.
For sure.
I appreciate you taking time to be on this. Super excited for when you guys get back in season, because I'm definitely going to be at some of these games, and I'm going to be getting this crowd electric. I'll be the guy getting the wave going, and your team's like, who the hell is this beard guy in the stands? Like, what is going on with this guy? But big fan of you, man. And I really think people are going to enjoy this episode. So I appreciate you taking the time, man.
Nah, I appreciate it, Bobby. This is great, man. Glad I could be on.
Dude, had to set the bar high with the first one. Hopefully this is always the one that you look back on years from now.
Hey, it will be.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's podcast, please, I have a favor to ask from you. Screenshot this episode on whatever platform you were listening in on. Post it to your IG story. Tag Nick. He's at Nick DePuy. That's NickDepuw. P-U-Y, excuse me.
P-U-Y.
I don't know where the fuck I got W from. I'm cooked. It's the end of the day. NickDePuy. Tag me at Bobe. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Share out the podcast. Let us know, what was the specific takeaway? What was the learning? How did this specific episode change your perspective? I'd be very curious. We don't get a lot of professional athletes on the show, so let us know, what did you enjoy about this specific episode, maybe versus some of the other ones that you've heard. So I'd be super curious to know. And then I think LA Galaxy is there. I should have jotted that down. What's their handle? Probably at LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy. Yep.
Cool. I'll have that linked up in the description below. Other than that, I think that's it. Nick, thanks for being on the podcast today, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Hey, appreciate it, Bobby. Anytime, man.
Let's get it, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya.